Okay, so normally for character guides, I try to make my own or format my own, but in this case, I just feel like crap, guys. So I'm going to be using the community Discord's guide that they have created. I'm going to be going over it. I'm going to be telling you what I agree with, what I don't agree with. We're going to talk about what recollections you should be equipping on Toji, what skills you want to upgrade first, all of that good stuff. But before we can even get into that, I want to really quickly go over his kit and what he can do, because honestly, my boy is insane, and I know a lot of people have like put in the comments that they're skipping on him because they're saving for the anniversary characters, and like I get it, but it's Toji, and I just love this character. Literally my favorite hidden inventory character. Just personally, I think I have a little bit of a bias, but I just really like him. So none of his skills require cursed energy. First off, absolutely insane. So you can use any skill whenever you want. His skill 1 is called Exorcism Slash. It deals 180% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 2 hits, decreases the selected enemy's critical hit resist by 15.3% for 3 turns. At level 10, it does increase how much you lower their crit resist by, and it increases your damage. Honestly though, you're never going to use this skill. If you're using Toji correctly, you should almost never use the skill 1 in my opinion, so keep that in mind. His skill 2 is his bread and butter. Slaughter Slash deals 331% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 3 hits. This is his hardest hitting skill. Additionally, it's insane because it nullifies any reduced damage received effects. There are a lot of illusory tower stages that the enemies have reduced damage received. Toji just freaking ignores that and goes absolutely crazy. I showed that in my showcase. If you guys haven't checked out the showcase yet, go check that out, but it's absolutely freaking nuts. At level 10, it just increases the damage. And then his skill 3, Special Grade Cursed Tool Inverted Spear of Heaven, increases own break damage by 170% one time. At level 10, it does go up to 255%. Which is crazy. Removes attack nullification and 1 removable buff from the selected enemy. Recent buffs are prioritized, deals 130.6% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 2 hits. So honestly, if I was saying out of these 3 skills, which one are you going to use the most? I would say skill 2, then your skill 3, and then your skill 1. And then if you have his ultimate up, of course, you're going to want to use that whenever you can. All things I can handle, removes attack nullification and 1 removable buff from all enemies. Recent buffs are prioritized and deals 960% ranged taijutsu damage to all enemies. At level 10, it goes up to 1599%. It just hits incredibly hard, and an AoE is very good. Now, also, he has these auto skills down here that seem like a mile long, but they do a ton for him. So physically gifted at the start of the battle, increases own taijutsu damage by 50%. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Recovers own HP by 3.5% every turn. Reduces own damage received by 15%. Evades single target attacks with a 20% chance. Grants guaranteed hit immunity to self. Cannot be targeted by some skills / statuses. Like, yo. When critical hit is performed, grants guaranteed hit status to self for a 50% chance. Activates on the next skill used. And then his other auto skill, I think I'm getting my edge back now. When critical hit is performed, increases own taijutsu damage by 15% for 3 turns. While the previous effect is activated, when critical hit is performed again, increases own taijutsu damage by 25% for 3 turns. Basically, he can have a 75% taijutsu buff from his auto skills alone, which is absolutely insane. So this character can hit incredibly hard. Now, as for the build for this character, what should you guys be doing? Let's talk about skills first. So personally, I disagree a little bit after using this character, after looking at what the JP players are doing with what this guide says, okay? Now, normally, with most characters, the ultimate is the thing you want to upgrade first. But in this case, with Toji, I feel like you are spamming skill 2 so much, and the skill 2 actually does like an insane amount of damage. That you're going to want your skill 2 upgraded first. I feel like skill 2 should be priority number 1. Honestly, it could be a toss-up between the 2, but personally, I feel like skill 2 should be priority number 1. That should be the skill you upgrade first. Then you upgrade your ultimate because it is an AoE. does a lot of damage, and then you should be doing your skill 3. This one I don't understand at all why they would say skill 1 goes before skill 3. I think the break damage is much more valuable than lowering crit resist. Like, crit resist is just not it, so I think that break damage is going to be way more useful. So I would say skill 3 should be your third priority, and then skill 1 should be your final priority. So quite a bit different order from what they have right here. Okay, so hopefully that helps you a little bit, but my personal opinion, go skill 2, then go with your ultimate, then go with skill 3, and then go with your skill 1. Okay, that's the order you should upgrade your skills in. These are going to be the materials you need to farm right here, so make sure you're farming out the Gilded Adornment and the Flat Container so you are able to get him leveled up as quickly as possible through the grades. I know not everybody's going to have the resources, especially if they've been pulling on every hidden inventory character. I myself only have him up to like board 9 or 10 right now because resources are insane, and that's with spending cubes to farm out resources. As for the recollections or memories, I agree with pretty much all of these recollections. They're all pretty good. So really quickly recap of what they do. This one's going to give you extra taijutsu damage. If you are landing crits, it increases your ultimate gauge faster. I think this is the best recollection to run on Toji overall, because it's going to getting his ultimate faster is like, it's actually insane. He just hits so many crits. If you're using skill 2, he has 3 chances to hit a crit because he hits multiple attacks. It's a multi-hit attack. And if he lands a crit, you're increasing your ultimate gauge. Getting your ultimate gauge up is going to allow you to just spam your ultimate like absolutely crazy. This is just overall the best recollection to run on him. Now, you could also run Nameless Youth. It's a decent recollection. It increases your taijutsu damage once again. It's going to give you a revive. That revive could be useful on Toji depending on the stage, depending on the circumstance. It could be better than Like-Minded Sisters, but usually this is the one you're going to want to run. And then if you don't have either of those two, then you start getting into your backups. So you have Play of the Strong, once again, just taijutsu damage. Mission Start, this one gives critical hit rate. This one's like the least. I don't like this one very much. Personally, I would personally replace this one. Like, my recommendation would be Adult Time. I would run this over that. So when command skill or ultimate skill is activated, it increases own damage dealt by 70%, and then when a critical hit is performed, increases all allies' critical hit rate by 10% for 2 turns. I personally think that is going to be more useful than Mission Start, but you can do whichever one you want. And then for your free-to-play Recollections, Malevolent Shrine, more damage, right? We're sisters. So they're okay. I think that's fine, but like, hopefully you have at least one of these summonable Recollections, but if you really have to, you can use these free-to-play Recollections, okay? So, and then we get into the breakdown of the character. I've already kind of broken down the character, but we'll see what they say. I'll tell you if I agree or disagree. So, top tier non-cursed energy taijutsu attacker who has high damage ratio, insane passive, and can remove opponent's buffs. Yeah, he is the best taijutsu attacker. Like, Maki is the only other non-cursed energy taijutsu attacker, and she's garbage. So yeah, deals high AoE damage with ult, which has invincibility, penetrate, and remove enemy buff. Multi-hit and neglects enemies damage reduction buff with skill 2. So yeah, skill 2 insane because it ignores damage reduction, which is really good. Damage to remove enemy crit resist with skill 1, which pairs well with passive damage buff when landing a crit. Like, it's okay. I think they're overrating that a little bit too much. Increases break rate greatly, then damage and remove enemy buff with skill 3. Yeah, skill 3 is very good. Constant taijutsu buff, HP regen, damage reduction, evasion, and immune to sure hit effect with passive. Yeah, that's a mouthful, but like, look at all that. This guy is beautiful. His skills have higher than normal crit damage as well, so the more crits you're landing, the better. So that is why it's not terrible to run the crit recollection right here. It's just still not my favorite. And then for teams here, these are their team suggestions. My main difference, like when I think about a team for him, is I want to run as many red characters as possible because you're typically taking on an illusory tower stage where red type is advantaged, and like Blue Nishimiya here would end up taking more damage because she's disadvantaged. So it's better to run, like, in my opinion, red Nanami right here, or eventually, when it's going to be half anniversary for Global, but when the first anniversary characters for Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade come out, the Domain Expansion Gojo, that is who you're going to run right here. So it's going to be Yaga, Domain Expansion Gojo, this Itadori, and then Toji, and it's going to be an insane team. Like, it'll be really good. So personally, if you get Toji, I think you should start saving up for Domain Expansion Gojo, and you'll have an insanely good red team, and it'll be a lot of fun for you to use. Now, outside of that, I do agree with the Megami here. This is fine. Like, if you're going to run a team with multiple different types of units, I think this is also a very strong team you can run right here. Personally, I like using Nishimiya a lot more than Nanami in different circumstances for Illusory Tower and stages and stuff like that. So I do think this is also a very strong team. And then I like what they have done for the community Discord here with what they've come up with more teams. So a ton of teams here, a ton of different options. So just take that in, pause the video at any point if you guys want to see these teams. But like, I love the effort that they put in with coming up with all these different teams for people to see. So these are the first two teams you just saw. And then we have the buff for days. So just buff, gives cursed energy back to be able to allow to keep buffing. Kaido's kind of losing a little bit of value here because you're not giving cursed energy to Toji, but like, it's okay. Personally, I would probably over Kaido maybe run like just a third buffer, like I don't know, red Nanami, put him in here, or put the red Itadori here and not worry too much about cursed energy, but that's just my opinion. And then you also have this team stacked red, where you're running 2 red attackers to do extra damage, 2 buffers there, and then Itadori to replace one of the buffers. Makes a lot of sense. Sustain red is going to be your team where you have Inumaki giving extra defense, giving ultimate gauge to allow him to get his ultimate faster. You have these 2 buffing. If any of these characters die, Hanami comes in and gives more damage reduction. You have healing, damage reduction, recollection right here. So this is just an overall decent team if you're trying to survive longer and do decent damage with Toji. And then you got the Ichichi carry. I love this. The free to play. There's your free to play team right there as well. I love that team. That is one of my favorites that they put together. And then your different attacker options you can run with him. Typically, though, I don't feel like you're going to be running him with any of these attacker options too often, other than like Itadori and Yuta. I feel like they're red characters, right? So it makes sense. But I don't know why you would really run him with any of these other characters and make it work. So yeah, in general, that's where I'm at. Now, as for duping, do I think it is worth duping out Toji? I don't think it's worth getting multiple dupes. I don't think most people are going to be going for dupes. I think most people settle for 1 copy of the character and call it a day. But if you are questioning whether you should get at least 1 dupe, I always think with attacker type units, it is worth getting at least 1 dupe because it gives you an extra 25% damage, which is actually insane. If it's not an attacker type unit, you don't need to dupe out the character. Like Geto, however you say his name, hidden inventory, you do not need to dupe out because it's just not worth it. It gives him a little bit of extra HP, but it's not worth it. On Toji here, giving him 25% extra attack can make or break some Illusory Tower 4 runs for you. So just something to think about. But in general, that is the character guide for Toji. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel. Peace.